Look out! Here come former SportsCenter anchor Bob Stevens, esteemed basketball coach Rich Basirico, and Hall of Fame sportswriter Curry Kirkpatrick. And someone's going under the bus.
Wow, how about that, huh? An actually recorded intro to this thing. We're getting way too high class here.
Big time.
Yeah. And it's all because the money is rolling in, and the money is what we're going to be talking about first off today. For us, we'll acknowledge the money that's coming in from Hudson's on Hilton Head Island, our sponsor for Under the Bus. We appreciate their support and invite you, if you're on Hilton Head Island, to go visit. I just had some neighbors go last night, sat on the docks, gorgeous day. Had a great lunch, and obviously open for dinner as well. Hudson's on Hilton Head Island. All right, let's get into the money that's going everywhere else in sports. I'll begin with just throwing out there Justin Jefferson, the wide receiver for the Vikings, getting a 4-year, $140 million deal, about 88.5 of it fully guaranteed. He'll have that money in the bank before he turns 30. He'll be 29 when this contract ends. How many passes is this guy going to catch? I mean, how many passes is going to get thrown to him? Rich, put a dollar sign every time the ball gets thrown from whoever plays quarterback for the Vikings.
And who is that? Who is going to throw to him? That's the big question. Who is going to throw to him? That's a lot of money. He's the highest paid football player, non-quarterback in the NFL history. He's good. He's very good, but I don't know if he's worth that kind of money. Now, all of a sudden, all the wide receivers want more money. Guys are all asking now, hey, I want my share. I want share.
Mine, yep.
Well, is he going to get him any? Is this money going to get them any closer to the Super Bowl? I'm not sure.
No.
They've got the rookie from Michigan who's going to probably start. Apparently, they like him, and he's got a real prize in Jefferson now to throw to as he starts his career. But I don't know. There have been some defensive players and some linemen that have gotten tons of money. They haven't come up with this contract, but it seems to me that they get their teams closer to Super Bowl than Jefferson's going. I'm not sure that Chase of Cincinnati is not going to get more right away.
And of course, CeeDee Lamb with the Cowboys.
CeeDee Lamb for the contract, yeah. We don't want to throw Jefferson under the bus, but I'm not sure. The Vikings haven't. They're gonna. I don't know. As Rich said, now every receiver in the league is going to want trillions.
Even the bottom half of the guys going to want more money, right?
Yeah,
if the level's that high, even the bottom guys want more money, and the quarterback thrown to him. Is it Sam Darnold? McCarthy. I read an article, Curry, last night. They said he might be third string.
Seriously.
I read an article last night that said he could be. Now, obviously, they have to go to training camp and so forth, but they're not that excited about him. What they've seen out of him. So we'll see. We'll see.
Well, money is the root of all evil, as we know. I think we haven't touched on this. We're a little late on this, but the NCAA, of course, now has settled these lawsuits for $37 trillion or something. I get lost in the amounts, but they're going to start paying players, as we know, and the schools are going to have to start paying players. And the settlement says that each school is going to get something like $200 million a year to pay their players. Where nothing's in place, Rich and Bob, nothing's in place to handle this. Are there going to be contracts? Are there going to be free agents? Where's the money? It's obviously going to go mostly to football and basketball, but how do they split this money up for the minor sports and women's sports? Where does this go? It's just that it's totally chaos. I hope everybody is happy about this that have been pleading to pay players for all these years. I'm of the old school. I used to like I like the old system where we gave them 4-year scholarships.
Right.
They got housing, they got their food. It's that's about 100,000 in value.
Right.
And let them play. I don't like paying the players. I've always been against this, and now it's going to be total chaos.
I totally agree. I mean, and you're going to start to see more coaches leaving the coaching ranks because they don't want to deal with this stuff anymore.
Already
The
have.
best of the best, the best of the best have already left, and it's going to
Well,
continue to
NIL
happen.
is one thing. NIL is one thing. That's outside money. This is going to be inside money. The
Right.
schools paying players, and they're going to probably have to recruit with that in mind, right? Who's going to give
Correct.
players
Without
the
a
most?
doubt.
There's no controls over this thing, and it's awful. I think. I just don't know.
No,
And then
I
of course
think
now they can transfer without having to sit out. They can transfer as much as they want. So what's going to happen? You have a good year, and then you go, okay, who's the highest bidder? Let me go. Let me
Yeah, they can
move
play.
on to the next school.
Well,
and then if
even
you have a
without
bad year after that, then you're out in the cold, and you got to go find another gig.
Right.
Well, this gets me to. You might notice I'm wearing the
What
colors.
does that stand for?
We had one of the great college
Nolo
baseball.
contendere. Yeah.
Excuse me. One of the great college baseball games on Monday night with Carolina beating LSU, the defending champions, got a run in the ninth and a run in the 10th to win the game 4-3. But I was just, watching that, I was saying, okay, now here's a minor sport compared to baseball, basketball, and football. But we have some great players in it. What are they going to get paid?
Right.
These guys, some of them are going to play in the major leagues. We have a kid in center field named Vance Honeycutt, who's, he's set all kind of records in the ACC, hit 50 home runs over his 3-year career, 70 stolen bases. The guy is really terrific. I wonder what he would be getting if this thing went on. Plus, we have Carolina. I hate to keep harping on Carolina, but I will anyway. We have a field hockey player, a woman player.
Oh, Lordy.
Named Erin Matson, who's one of the great field hockey players ever. She led us to 4 national championships in 4 years, and then immediately became the coach. She's coaching the women's, at 22. And she's one of the great, women's figures in college sports in the last decade. I wonder what she would be getting paid in this kind of thing. I mean, she'd probably be asking for money, right?
Of course.
Where
So
does
what's
this thing
going to
go?
happen? Some players might stay a little bit longer now, thinking, "Hey, if I stay in college, I could make a lot more money than if I get drafted or go wherever."
Well,
I
that's
was going to
already
say that might be the one positive to come out of this for those of us who love college baseball, is we might get our players a little longer because they're going to make more money, probably the big ones in college, than they are in their first minor league deal, unless they're the superstars. But
well, that's already
they might
happened.
stay in college, might be a better financial deal.
That's already happened. Carolina had Armando Bacot, come back this year for his 5th year. Count him, 5 years. He came back because he wasn't going to be a high draft choice, and he came back and he had a terrific last season. So that's already happened now, and that was just on NIL money. Now he's going to get. I mean, what are guys like this going to get with this? As I say, inside money, the schools are going to have to pay them. I mean,
and
we have, and Rich, you talked about, you can transfer now. They're going to allow transfers happen every year. You can go anywhere you want. Carolina has a baseball player named D'Onofrio. He's bats cleanup. He's been to 4 schools already. He's played baseball at 4 schools. I don't know what that happened. He had he got a 5th year because of COVID. So he's played 5 years at 4 different schools. I mean, this is a joke. Come on.
It is a joke. That's why field hockey's #1 sport at North Carolina now, right?
That's right. We're a field hockey school and a baseball school. Thank you very much.
And another just side issue in all of this, having to raise the money to pay the past players and then to pay the future players, is that the Big 5 conferences, the ones who raise all the money, the one who create all the big TV deals, have to pay less as a percentage than the little schools that prop it all up. The bottom level Division 1, then the 2 and the 3s, all have to ante up a whole lot more money compared to their budgets than the big schools do. So the rich are going to get richer, the poor are going to start dropping, and people are going to start dropping sports.
And of course, in the Big East, which doesn't play football, is bitching and moaning about all the money they have to pay now, and why isn't level? They're going to have to break it up and figure out the divisions, and nobody knows how they're going to do that. That's why I say it's total chaos.
It is chaos.
It is, and it's not good. Anything more money wise? We want to talk, or if we just vented all that out.
Speaking of funny, if we go to the pros now, I want to point out, with all this money going around the last couple of weeks, that we haven't talked about, Dak Prescott, the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, who's basically whack Prescott to me. He's in the midst of contract negotiations, and he's going to probably get $50 million contract, right? I mean, the guy at Cincinnati is the highest paid quarterback. I think he's at $55 million. Dak's going to ask around $50 million. He came out the other day and he says, "I don't play for money. I don't play for money." He said, "I never have." This is a quote. "I never have. I never will. To be honest with you," well, thanks, Dak. "To be honest with you, I don't even care for money." That's what he said. Well, that's what he said. I mean, come on. I mean, you can say, it's just a business and, we're not going to, you can say all this other stuff, but don't say, "I don't play for money." I mean,
you notice him agreeing to any deals yet? No.
Well, now, Jerry Jones, should come out now and say, "You know what? I don't negotiate for money, so let's just leave it at that. You just play for what we got now."
Yeah, let him be a volunteer player.
Yeah, well, all this. So if Dak doesn't want any money, let the money go to CD Lamb. I'm sure he'll take it because he's going to want a big contract also. Yeah. I mean, come on.
So many guys go, and all sports go where the money is, obviously, and they don't care what team they play on, which drives me crazy. Would you not want to go to a team like in baseball? By now, some of these teams, like the Mets, they're out of it. So how do you like to go to work every day knowing that you have no chance to make the playoffs?
Yeah, well,
they take the most money. How about find a team that you think can compete for the championship and take good money, and play for a team that's going to, be a competitive team in every game and have a chance to go to the, World Series. Too many guys are holding out. Blake Snell held out, because he was a Cy Young winner. Look what happened to him now. Now he's on the DL because he waited so long to get into missed spring training, started late. He's come out and said, "I should have been in spring training. I missed out on that." Montgomery the same way.
And now he may be out for the season.
Correct.
Right. Speaking out for the season, I got another guy, and it's not really about money, but it really is. Aaron Rodgers, who missed all of last year. Okay. Did you see this? The league awarded the Jets like 6 night TV games in the first 11 weeks. Yeah. So everybody said, "Oh, that's okay." And somebody said, "The Jets owe us." Somebody in the league office said the Jets owe us one because, of course, Aaron got, missed the season last year after 4 plays. And Rodgers came out and said, everybody knows. He says, "That's great. We're going to play." He says, "Just, everybody knows we are must-watch TV." He said, we are must-watch. That's everybody knows that. People might love me or hate me, but people want to see me play. They enjoy watching me play. He went from we to me in about 10 seconds, right? and the Jets, I didn't realize that the Jets have the longest playoff drought of any team in all the 4 major sports. Really? 13 years they haven't been in playoffs. So now, of course, Rodgers is now going to get his TV games. They have to open at the 49ers, and they have a really hard opening schedule. I'm gonna be interested in see what Rodgers has to say when the Jets go south again.
I'll help throw the Jets under the bus. Maybe next segment when we actually talk about games. You wanted to talk one more thing about money. You wanted to talk, Curry, about Caitlin Clark. You want to do that now, or you want to do it after the break?
For sure. I think again, money is at the base. Of course, she got paid tons and tons of money to go. Now she's in the WNBA. And this stuff that's happening to her got really ugly over the weekend. They had back-to-back games. This story has jumped the weekend, and now it's the talk of sports. That Caitlin got battered from behind by a former a rival player named Kennedy Carter. I've never heard of Kennedy Carter. And as you see, I mean, she, people call it an elbow check. Watch this. She just batters her from behind and knocks her to the floor. Yeah. The referee was right there watching this, and no technical, no flagrant course, the next day the league has called it a flagrant. But this is emitted a lot of outrage, and this was a nasty play by a nasty player.
Without a doubt. But
Yeah, and
she should have been suspended. Kennedy should have been suspended for a couple games. I mean, I listened to Sports Radio yesterday. Everybody's talking about, well, there's games physical, and it wasn't a basketball play. It's
no.
one thing if you're going for a rebound or a steal, and you bump into him, knock him down. She literally went up and just knocked her over. That girl should be suspended for at least 2 games. And there's people talking about, it's part of the game. That's not that part is not part of the game. That is not. You play hard, you get after, you dive on the floor, you go for rebounds. That part right there is not part of a basketball game. It wasn't even a basketball play. She just went over and knocked her over.
Everybody agrees to that now. I think the WNBA, of course, very defensive, has come and said, this is not us. This is not the league. You can't paint the picture of us league just for this one player's actions. But afterward, they had a press conference, and Carter says, I ain't answering no questions about Caitlin Clark. But then, of course, she goes on social media and blasts Caitlin Clark on social media. This is gutless. This is double. She went, overtime with gutless plays.
Yeah.
But
how much money is Caitlin Clark making Kennedy Carter? By being a part of the WNBA?
They don't understand that. She's bringing so much to the table. Why is everybody mad at her? She's not the one writing these articles about her. She's not the one where Nike and people come to her and want to sponsor her. They're coming to her. She doesn't say, hey, write an article about me. So why are they upset with her about it? I mean, look what they're bringing. And the players are jealous. They say, if she was a different color, we wouldn't be getting this PR. Where is that coming from? I mean, why are you bringing that to the table?
But I think, Rich, the elephant in the room that a lot of talk radio wasn't even talking about is race. I think this is a racism thing. I think this is a racist thing. And I think this is a black league, as the NBA is. These are white players going into a black league, getting paid more than the black players, and there is tremendous resentment. I mean, Caitlin Clark's great rival in college was Angel Reese at LSU. Okay, she's playing for the Sky the other day when Clark gets blasted, and Angel Reese is on the bench at the other end of the court, screaming, yelling, and waving her hands. This is an ugly stuff. This is ugly stuff. And later on in that game, Caitlin got back in the game. Later on in that game, Angel Reese blasted her under the boards on a rebound. She took her to the floor again. And then, of course, in the press conference afterward, they, Carter said, I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions. And then a reporter said, well, something, he tried to get another. And either Weatherspoon, the coach, or it was Cardoso, her teammate, her rookie teammate, sitting next, said, that's all. That's enough of this. That's enough questions. That offended me as much as as a media guy. I said, this is a league that's begging for attention, and then they're going to tell us, the media, what to ask them. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Come on. But I go back. A lot of people said, a lot of people brought up Larry Bird coming to the NBA and took a lot of hits and a lot of stuff from black players. But I go back even further than that. When Pete Maravich came into the league, he was a highly rated white player. He had all these moves in the game. And he was coming into a black league, and even his teammates hated him, resented the money he was making. And it was all because, he's the white boy playing the black man's game, and he puts 48 on Walt Frazier in the Garden. I mean, Maravich could do that. He puts the 48 on Frazier, and everybody go, oh my, there's just tremendous racial resentment here. That's the elephant in the room that nobody's talking about. Right. And it's a nasty thing, and it needs to be put out front by the WNBA, and it needs to be stopped. That's the stuff on Clark. Correct. It needs to be stopped away.
Without a doubt. Well, here, I just want to read this real quick. Kennedy Carter's, what she said. You said that she didn't make any comments, but the day later, she came out and said this: I love the hate more than the love. What you all understand. I'd rather you hate me than love me. And I mean that on my dead aunt. What is that?
Her dead aunt.
That's what she said. And I mean that on my dead aunt. How much that she doesn't care to people that she'd rather be hate than loved.
Well, I looked up. Yeah,
Oh,
I looked up this Carter because I never heard of her. She was a college player at Texas A&M. Actually, it was freshman of the year, her freshman year in college. But she's had a, should we say, checkered career since then.
right.
I mean, she's been suspended or something from two different teams. She's been traded around the league already. She's been in several teams already. So she's not exactly the angel like Angel Reese, like Angel Reese's name. She's not an angel either. But I think and Barkley came out and Draymond Green came out and say, where is Caitlin Clark's teammates? Where are they?
There you go. This
That's
thing
right.
could get solved. Yes, yeah, you should have maybe suspensions or whatever. I think you let, I've been lectured about this by baseball managers, talking about throwing inside and hitting guys. The game will take care of itself most of the time if you let it. And if a couple of Caitlin Clark's teammates,
Boston,
do their job, then it'll be better.
Aaliyah Boston, great player at South Carolina, was rookie of the year in the WNBA last year. She's Caitlin's teammate. She's the one who was throwing the ball in bounds when Caitlin got blasted. She does nothing, to go after Carter. She just goes and sort of walks over and picks up.
She doesn't have to do that then. I mean, she maybe says something, but then next time down the floor, when Carter comes inside, then
I agree.
Take care of it.
Yeah.
Take care of it within the game. Don't start a fight.
Right.
Don't create that. But baseball does a pretty good job of, you throw at my guy, I'm going to throw at yours.
I think this is a sign. Yeah, I think this is a sign that I think this is another racial sign that even her teammates, her black teammates, won't support her in this case. And
we've gone more than 20 minutes. We haven't taken a break. We need to do that. And we've gone more than 20 minutes, and we have not talked about a game yet. Can we do that when we come back? We're going to throw some people under the bus, maybe, because we've got some games coming up. Maybe we ought to chat about those a little bit. We'll be right back in just a moment. Under the bus. All right, welcome back to Under the Bus. Former ESPN SportsCenter anchor Bob Stevens, that would be me talking about myself in the third person, Curry Kirkpatrick, and Rich Basirico. Let's talk about a game. We've got the NBA Finals, which finally begin on Thursday. These guys are going to, I mean, they've had vacations.
Can I do one more thing before we get to the NBA?
Yeah,
I want to go back because you brought up baseball in the last segment. And you talk about a game. There was a game the other day. The terrible White Sox, which are having their worst season since like the 50s, are playing the Brewers. And my boy Tommy Pham, did you see this? Was on third base. Fly ball lifted into shallow left, and he went anyway. Went to home, and he smashed into Contreras, the Brewers catcher, who's a tough guy. And Tommy Pham, with a note of tough guys in the league. He starts walking away, and Contreras gives him, he's flexing and saying something to him. Here's the play again. Pham is out by a mile, and Tommy Pham threw his third base coach under the bus. First of all, he said, the guy sends me. It's a shallow, a play in the left field. A guy's gonna talking about a third person. The guy's gonna be out in the plane anyway. And so he didn't even look. He ran so far inside the base run, he didn't even try to slide. He gets thrown out, and here he is. He's walking away, and the guy, apparently Contreras said some stuff to him, and Pham, he wants to fight guy. So he said afterward, he said, I'm just walking away. The guy, he said,
look how far inside the line he is.
And Pham said, my third base coach sent me. He said, I don't know. It's like, he said, if he sends me, I got to go. He was like throwing the third base coach. Why would he send me? He sends me anyway. So he's got a blast in the guy. He's walking away, and he says, I heard some yapping from that tough guy catcher. He said, listen, I don't start anything, but I finish stuff. He said,
Right.
that's why I practice fighting in the off season all the time. That's why I practice fighting, because I'm going to be prepared to F up some guy. I love Tommy Phan's been on like 6 teams in 4 years. He's a former Cardinal, and he's had some fights before, but you don't want to mess with him. But he said, that's why I prepare to F up some guys. It's great.
Just keep
great.
The White Sox will just keep losing, no
Yeah.
matter what he does. NBA Finals.
NBA.
Let's talk NBA Finals. You guys love talking basketball. We finally got into the finals. Dallas and Boston, the two cities, the two areas have never played for all the marbles in any sport ever before. How about that?
That's pretty good. I think it's going to be a great final. I really do. I do think Boston overall has more depth than Dallas, but I think it's going to be, and it's great because 2 former players are coming back to their old team.
Porzingis going to Dallas, and of course Kyrie Irving going to the Celtics.
Right.
And you talk about a hated player in Boston. I mean, they've had some, they hate the Yankees. Boston hates everybody, but this guy Kyrie Irving, he left some bad stuff when he went. I was looking this up. You remember when he came back to the NBA after he left Boston in a mess. Everybody hated him. He would disappear and not know. He not tell the team where he was. But when he played for the Nets, when he came back to Boston, he burned sage all over the court. Do you remember this? To ward off the demons, because Kyrie thinks he's an Indian. This is the Native American thing, and he's always claimed he's Native American. Who knows that? But he spread sage all around to rid the demons. Then he stomped on the Celtics logo after a game. Oh, you talk about a hated guy. This is going to be interesting. This is going to game 1 in the Boston Garden. Kyrie Irving coming back.
It'll be fun to watch for sure. I mean, there's some good matchups. But I just think Boston, when you look for player, I mean, I know Dallas has Doncic and Kyrie, but look at what Boston brings out on the table, on the floor. I mean,
and they've got the great defensive guards, but Rich, are they going to really stop Doncic? It seems to me,
no, he's going to get.
He's on the verge of being called the greatest player in the world. If he wins this, that's what people are going to say. I don't know if that's exactly true. They say he's playing better defense this year, and that Kyrie's playing better defense. I don't know about that.
Right.
Is there going to be any defense? Come on, Boston is number 1 in the league in shooting 3-pointers and also in making them. Dallas is number 2 in putting them up and number 3 in making them. Is this just going to be a horse game? They're just going to, run down 30 feet and jack it up, run down 30 feet and jack it up. That's what this series looks like. It's
probably so. You're probably right, Bob. Probably.
Well, but the Mavs now have those revolving centers. Lively, the rookie from Duke, and who's the other guy that they got at the deadline? Rich, the other big center. Yeah, they can block some shots. They're blocking shots all over the place.
They're not blocking threes.
Well, now that's
anybody blocking a 3? Get them out on the perimeter and do that.
Well, think about threes. Think of these prior games, guys trying to block 3-point shooters. What do you don't foul the jump shooter. That's the rule of thumb. I mean, that's what you learn when you're in CYO. You don't foul the jump shooter. And guys did that during the playoffs. They're leaving their feet to try to block a guy's shot. For what are you trying to do? You don't leave your feet, especially on a 3-point shot. But Bob, I totally agree with you. It's going to be an up and down game. No one's going to, they're going to sit there and say, "Oh, we're going to slow down the tempo." No one's slowing this tempo in these finals without it.
I guarantee you, Doncic is going to have some 3-pointers that they try to block.
Oh, guarantee. They did in the last series.
Yeah, sure. You're right. He
ball fakes and he throws his body into him and it gets called for the foul. Minnesota did that. It was crazy how they were leaving their feet, and he uses his body so well. But he's an amazing player. When the game's on the line, he steps it up. He brings his A game all the time. Some guys are up and down. He's got his A game in place, especially when the game's down the stretch.
The thing is, like Jokic, he can't jump, he can't run, he's not fast. Right. It's these 2 European guys. I mean, they embarrass all these great athletes in the NBA. I love to see it. Bob, what do you think about this being a referendum on Jason Tatum, who's been on the verge of being the face of the league for several years, and he's never gotten it done. You know, they got to the finals a few years ago, and he really didn't play well. And now here it comes again. What do you think of that?
Well, it could be. I mean, if they don't win, if Dallas wins the thing, then are you going to saddle him with the great player, but he can't win the big one? I don't know. I'm curious to see if anybody plays any defense, and if nobody plays any defense, I kind of like Dallas maybe to shock them and win it. Rich, I know you've got the Celtics. Who you got, Curry?
I got Dallas. I got Doncic and Kyrie.
Yeah. Well, I want Dallas to win. I really do want Dallas to win because I'm a Boston hater. I want Dallas to win, but I just think Boston's depth is very strong and they're good. Well, they're both good.
I just hope Kyrie. I hope Kyrie burns some incense or sage or whatever he does around the court, so he gets some Native American karma going. And see,
time for another break before we get into the sport we really want to talk about, and that's the Stanley Cup Finals. It's going to be huge. Everybody get prepared, folks. You're not going to want to miss these next few minutes as we come back, and we're going to throw somebody under the bus. Welcoming you back under the bus alongside Hall of Fame coach Rich Basirico and Hall of Fame sports writer Curry Kirkpatrick. I'm Bob Stevens. Okay, we got to spend at least a minute on the Stanley Cup Finals. Edmonton and Florida. Again, another New York team doesn't make the finals. They've got to fly 2,550 miles.
Too bad
between
for that,
games.
Rich.
Well, I wasn't surprised. I thought the Rangers could pull it off, but Florida is so physical and so strong. I was hoping the Rangers would make it, but I thought Dallas would win. I did. I really thought Dallas would win, but what do I know?
Are we all rooting for Edmonton just to see a Canadian team win?
Oh, you got to. It hasn't been back to the Cup. Hasn't been back to Canada. What, in 30 years? Over 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, Bob, you sarcastically promoted this Stanley Cup Finals, but you know, I've been watching a little bit of this, and of course, the face of the league is a guy named Connor McDavid that plays for Edmonton, and now he's finally in the finals of the Stanley Cup. And as I watch hockey, and I don't know much about hockey, but as you watch this, I've been watching McDavid over the last few weeks, and you really don't see. You know, only hockey aficionados can see how great this guy is. His passing, his shot making, his teamwork. But he made a play in the final game the other night against Dallas. He made the first goal, and he weaved around a guy and went in and shot in the backhand. I still don't know. I didn't see where the puck was. I still don't know how he did it. No. And everybody, even hockey aficionados, are raving about what a play. This just showed what a great player this guy is. I mean, he's head and shoulders above almost everybody in the league. And I love that, you know, his name's McDavid. They call him McJesus.
I was going to say that you got to love that name.
I love that, McJesus. And he's got a couple teammates, and his linemen, the center's Draisaitl, and people say Winnipeg, Edmonton has the two best players in the series. So, you know, I'm looking. Florida's a favorite in Vegas.
Yeah.
Of course, they've been there. They were in the finals last year, so they have that experience. Edmonton's never been there. McDavid and his teammates have never been there. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if Edmonton wins this. This guy McDavid is something to see. I mean, even for non-hockey people, he's
you ought to watch it. Yeah. We ought to spend a little bit of time watching it.
He's 6'4", but his speed is so amazing. And his stick handling and you know, shot making, you know, the guy is a wonder.
Curry's becoming a hockey guru.
What's that?
Yeah, Curry's becoming a hockey guru.
Hey, I lived in Niagara Falls, right across the border from Canada. I might as well be a Canadian myself. Speaking of Canada, can we go ahead? Can we get on there?
Robert McIntyre. and his
Yeah,
dad.
I was gonna bring up your
How cool is that?
your game of golf. Of course, they were in the
Yeah.
Canadian Open this week, but McIntyre, who's a Scotsman, won with his dad on the bag. I mean, what an emotional scene that was. But speaking of stuff in sports that you're not supposed to do, of course, my favorite Canuck is Adam Hadwin, and
Yes.
you know him, Bob.
Yes.
And he is from he's from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. He's about 5'8". He's Canada's answer to Brian Harmon. He's just a little guy. He's had a great 3 years, Bob. In
Good player.
22, well, he's a good, but in 22 he led the U.S. Open after the first round. That was
Yep.
2 years ago. In 23 last year, he went viral. Remember this, when he ran onto the green at the Canadian Open and was going to pour champagne on Taylor.
Nick Taylor.
Taylor was the first
Yep.
Canadian to win, and
Yep.
and security guards grabbed him and slammed him to the ground. His golfer,
Yep.
his poor Hadwin. And then just a few weeks ago at the Players, he's playing 17 and 18. He hit it. This is Hadwin now. He hit it in the lake on 17. Then he hit it in the lake again on 18. And then he took his club and he two-handed fired his club in the lake like 150 yards. I mean, he put a move on his club and threw it into the lake. I mean, I haven't seen an arm on a Canadian like that since Ferguson Jenkins, I think. Watch this. If we got this has got to, so he hits it in the lake. That's on 17, I believe. He's going to hit it in the lake again. There's Hadwin. But unfortunately, here it is. He hits this. Like, watch this club go. I don't know. We're doing video now. But unfortunately, here we go.
There we go.
I love. Does golf not suspend guys for doing that? I guess they don't. I mean, he went on to play. No.
No.
But
He just can't play with the club
it's his
anymore.
club. He's got to
Yeah.
go and buy a new club now.
Unfortunately,
You know what happened? And I think this might have been at the PGA the week before. A guy threw his club in the water, and a guy came out of the crowd and volunteered to go in and get the club and went into the water to get the club, which is why every lake should have alligators in it on the tour. That would stop that kind of stuff. But it's they're going to Jack's place this week, and it'll be fun to watch who goes into the water there, or what goes into the water.
Well, and McIntyre, having won this huge tournament, bows out of Jack's tournament. He's withdrawn already.
He's going to go home with Dad. Dad doesn't promise to be sober later in this week and won't be caddying for his son anymore. But we all had dads. How cool would it be to be in that spot, or to be caddying for your son? Either side of that equation.
Yeah,
that would be.
It was
pretty
really
cool.
emotional.
That's really
Speaking of throwing clubs, let's get back to my favorite game, tennis. We haven't even talked about the French Open is in full swing. It's in the second week here. It's going to end, next weekend. We won't be around until it's over. But I want to throw Roland Garros, the tournament itself, under the bus, because first of all, they made Nadal.
What did Roland Garros ever do to you? Come on.
Yeah, well, here's what they did this week.
Was he a tough guy? Yeah.
First of all, he was a fighter pilot. I think he was a hero in World War II or something. Roland Garros, as we say.
Yes.
First of all, they make Nadal, the great Rafael Nadal, Rafa, basically come in as a qualifier because his ranking has fallen so far. This guy has won the tournament 14 times. Never going to be approached with that, ever. And they make him qualify. Of course, then he has to play Zverev, the great German, in the first round. And of course, he gets beat, so he's gone already. I mean, Nadal, they should have given him a seed. I don't care how far he's fallen in rankings. They should have given him a seed to protect him, because he has to play Zverev, who won Italy the previous week and is now into the round of 16 in the tournament. Zverev is a terrific player. So he goes out now. Now the Roland Garros is making these players play until 3 a.m. Djokovic had to play till 3 a.m. the other night because there's so much rain. They've been calling the French Open the Drench Open because there's so much rain. And so courts are backed up, players are backed up, matches are gone. And Djokovic began his match at 10:30 at night. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, and he finished at 3 a.m. And even Coco Gauff came out, our great women's hope player, and she bitching and moaning about you can't make us go on and at night that late at night. And she's right. And then listen to this. I don't think this got enough attention. There was so much screaming, the crowd screaming during the points and getting abusive because they were been drinking a lot. The tournament then suspended all sales of alcohol, including wine, on the grounds. So now these French people are out there; they can't drink their wine. Are you kidding me? A player said he was spat on by some fans close to him, and everybody's kind of drinking and yelling and screaming. So the tournament, turned around and did a drastic thing by barring wine. Now I still don't know if that only lasted a couple of days or if it's still in effect. But the players came out and said, wait, whoa, wait a minute. We don't want to upset our fans by barring them from drinking. So, I mean, Roland Garros has been, they can be kind of screwed up this week.
Well,
Tough tournament.
We brought this up before. In tennis, why can't the people, I mean, I know it's etiquette, you're not supposed to scream, but why not all the other sports, football, basketball, baseball, you're
not
screaming all the
golf,
time.
not golf. No, wait a minute,
Yeah.
not golf.
Golf.
They
I know
shut up
golf
during
you
golf.
can't either. But
They
but
should
why
scream
not?
at golf.
Let's change the rules. Golf and tennis, scream anytime you
should.
want to.
I
It'd be
agree.
fun.
The only tennis event where people can scream and yell is World Team Tennis that Billie Jean founded 100 years ago. And in those matches, nobody ever watches those because it's in the summer after Wimbledon, the league starts, and it's only about 4 weeks long. But if you watch some of those matches, people are screaming and yelling, and players are playing through it. They can play through it. So it's
why not?
Yeah, I don't know. But the other thing I want to talk about this, and you guys, I don't think are tennis players, but
no.
I used to be a tennis player, and there's such a thing as the underhand serve. The underhand serve has become a big thing now in his tournament.
Really?
A guy, a Australian, in an early match he blew 4 match points of his own. On his 5th match points, he was so disgusted with himself that he can't get a serve in. He quick served the guy. He quick served opponent underhand. And the guy came running in, the Australian player he was playing, and he won the point and he won the match. And of course, the French people all booed this guy for serving underhand. And yet again, they had a Frenchman named Moutet. And Moutet he was the only Frenchman that got to the 16. And he's a big underhand server. He uses it as a weapon. Now, I don't know, what do you guys think? Would you like to be quick served, or you're playing against a guy and all of a sudden he's serving underhand? What do you think about that?
I played a little tennis myself. I think I would like that. I would invite you to do that after the first time. If I get ready for it, I don't have to worry about hitting back a 110-mile serve. I'm hitting back, kind of a little lob over the net. So I think that would be great.
Yeah. Well, here's this might be Moutet. I don't know. I think it is
Moutet.
Yeah. No, look at he's gonna. Oh, there he goes. It's like a trick. It's like a trick. This guy comes in, but it's a big thing with this guy Moutet. Of course, he became a big hero of the French because he got all the way to the 16s, serving these underhand shots. I don't know. It's against all tradition, of course, but who knows? I don't know.
The world's changing in not in a positive way, is it?
And Djokovic,
does that kind of wrap up the whole show? The world is changing around us. It's the sports world. And none of it's good. Have we seen anything good?
Yeah, we're not ready for it, right?
We'll throw everybody under the bus.
Hey, speaking of trick plays, if we got 2 more minutes. Speaking of trick plays, did you see the trick play that Clemson third baseman moved on a hidden ball? The hidden ball trick.
I love
that. Was sensational.
I love it. I love it.
They should do more of that in the major leagues. They should do more of that in the major league. The third baseman pretended he gave the ball back to the pitcher, and he goes back to his place, and the runner on third didn't. He's sort of laying off, and the guy gets him. And the TV cameras were all over this play, so they weren't fooled.
Look at the coach. The coach is stunned. The third base coach is stunned. He's just standing there. He can't believe what just happened.
I'd love if the major league started doing this more and they did it to Tommy Pham.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
What-
Tommy Pham needs
A
to
fight
get nailed on a
fight
hidden
with
ball.
Hey, Tommy Pham, I'm prepared for lighting a guy up when he does that to me.
Here we
Here we go. Let's watch it, and then we'll head out. They're talking.
Yeah,
They're
this
talking.
Third
Third baseman has the ball.
Yeah.
Third baseman's got the ball. Watch him move in, and we'll go get him.
Good
That's
stuff.
the way to finish the show.
There you
Was
go.
that Coastal Carolina?
Yes,
I think it's
Coastal Carolina.
You know, Clemson and Coastal Carolina, the same state. Come on, trick plays.
Clemson goes on and wins the game. Coastal's coach then quits and talks about NIL money, which is the perfect way to put a bow on this show, right? Ay.
There you go.
We'll talk about Birmingham Southern next week. We'll talk about a lot of stuff next week. We've gone way heavy. We sure appreciate all of you who have listened this long to us three old goats throwing people under the bus. We want to thank again the folks at Hudson's on Hilton Head Island for sponsoring the show and for rooting us on. We appreciate them and hope you will as well. Thanks so much for joining us. For Rich Basirico and Curry Kirkpatrick, I'm Bob Stevens. Thanks again for joining us Under the Bus.
Thank you.
Under the Bus is a production of the Lowco Media Network and is filmed on the Hilton Head Island campus of the University of South Carolina, Beaufort. The executive producer is Justin Jarrett, with assistance from Trey Ramsey, Mahogany Hickman, and Adam Carroll.